Kia ora tātou, welcome back to this genetic variation video. In the last video we looked at the DNA structure. In this video we're going to expand a little bit further on that and look at chromosomes, genes and alleles. So thinking back to the last video, we looked at the structure of DNA, which looked something like this, and we now know that that can be uncoiled and we have bases that make up these rungs. What we can do with a strand of DNA, a really long strand, is that we can fold it together, and when we fold it together we get what these structures are, which are chromosomes. In human cells we have 46 of these chromosomes, and the chromosomes come in pairs, and so the pairs will be similar size, but the exact base sequence of the DNA that makes them up will be slightly different. But we'll look further into the similarities between these chromosomes in a second. So those are chromosomes, and the word that we use for the pairs of chromosomes is homologous. So these two are homologous chromosomes. They're similar size, but there will be slight differences in the base sequence of the DNA that makes them up. So in human cells we've got 46 chromosomes, 23 of them are homologous pairs. So let's unravel these chromosomes now, and what we're going to do is just take a slight section from each one. So we're going to zoom in on just the top right hand arm of each of these chromosomes, and we get these sections of DNA. So we can see that we recognize this from the last video. These arrows are just to indicate that this DNA extends for a really long section, but we've just zoomed in on a particular part of it. So this particular part, what we're going to say is that this codes for eye color, and eye color. And what determines whether or not these DNA strands code for blue eyes or brown eyes is the base sequence that we have in this particular strand of DNA. But we have a name for the section of DNA that codes for eye color, and that is a gene. So this section here of DNA of both of these strands is called a gene. Oops, disappearing. So the base sequence that I was talking about before determines whether or not the gene codes for blue eyes or brown eyes. Let's say that this section of DNA codes for brown eyes. And this section of DNA will say codes for blue eyes. Even though these are very similar base sequences, we can see that there's a difference here. We've got a G on that section on the 5th base, and on this one we've got a C. So these different base sequences of the same gene are what we call alleles. A-L-L-E-L-E-S. So an allele is a variation of a gene. So the gene is the broad category. If we're talking about ice cream, to make this a little bit more relatable, ice cream is the gene, ice cream is the category, and then alleles would be the flavor of the ice cream. So we could have a chocolate flavored allele or a raspberry flavored allele. So gene is the category. It could be eye color, could be hair color, a number of other things, and alleles are the particular version of that gene that code for a particular thing. Thanks very much for watching this video. In the next video we'll be looking at cell division. See you next time.